Happy Halloween. Can you guess what I'm going as? It's kind of my go-to costume every year. I mean, sometimes I throw in Wonder Woman just for fun, but Catwoman, you're looking at her. Welcome to the show, everyone. Good to have you here. Oh my goodness, poor GAYLE King. GAYLE King over at that show that nobody ever watches, over on that network that nobody ever watches. But her claim to fame is she is Oprah Winfrey's best friend, you see. Well, Oprah Winfrey's best friend seems to be out of a job relatively soon over at CBS News. That story just coming into us. Confirmed, actually. In fairness, I've been reporting this for days. Have I not? You have heard me here on this show, been saying over and over and over and over again, yep, you know it. GAYLE King is gonna be out, and it's coming true. It's coming true. GAYLE King, according to Variety, is out of a gig. And I don't think any of us are going to be so devastated. Are you? You probably never even watched it. Anyway, she's going to be out. That's according to Variety. We have her reaction. Meanwhile, the Democrat Party is just scrambling. They're sort of in shambles right now. We got Gavin Newsom doing the rounds, trying to talk to, their friends over at ABC News. They've got lots of friends over at ABC News. And he can't quite keep it together. In fact, he's imploding like in real time. This is a massive case of TDS, unlike anything you've ever seen. Oh, well, Jasmine gets totally delirious. You know who I'm talking about, Jasmine Crockett, that representative out of Texas that has let's just say an inflated sense of self. And don't ask me. I mean, I'm just picking up on the vibe in the room. Ask her staff. Her staff can't stand her. And now she's trying to make a run for a much bigger position now that, well, hers will be eliminated thanks to the redistricting maps and 400 members of MAGA targeting. We've got some shocking new details that I want to share with you on this whole spy up, Arctic frost as it is known. Welcome to the program, everyone. It's really, really, really good to have you here. Happy Halloween, as I said. Catwoman, okay? Either that or Emma Peel. Did anybody ever watch, the movies, well, the Avengers? we can have some fun today. GAYLE King reportedly out at CBS. This is according to an article in Variety magazine. This came out late last night. They're billing it as an exclusive. GAYLE King expected to depart. GAYLE King expected to depart from CBS mornings. And there's some talk because you see her contract is coming up for renewal in May of 26. And they want to make some shifts. They want to make some changes. They want to have a whole new CBS. Good luck. I don't think it's going to do you any good no matter which way you slice it. Okay, guys? Because nobody watches CBS. And they certainly don't watch the morning show. I mean, they don't watch the evening show. They don't watch 60 Minutes. They don't watch anything unless it's on after a football game. And then, that's when you score. That's the home run. That's the gig to get, right? You don't even need to do anything. People are just sitting there with their TVs on. They go to the kitchen to get something, and CBS cashes in on those ratings. Well, Paramount now owns them. Paramount and Skydance. And they brought in a woman who is known for more independent thinking. That would be Barry Weiss, who left the New York Times because she was sick of the woke group think. And she started the Free Press. Well, now they bought the Free Press for $150 million. Not a bad payday for Barry. And she's going in there and she's like, okay, we got to change this. We got to change that. She already got rid of the evening news anchor. And by the way, the 60 Minutes EP, he left on his own. He's like, bye-bye. So now looks like Scott Pelley could be in for the works. It looks like Oprah's Bestie. I mean, did you see this one? I think I showed this to you back in the day. This was the dancing at the party, you see, for Gayle's 70th birthday. GAYLE is, again, Oprah's best friend, and I'm sort of shocked at how badly Oprah dances. Well, not as badly as, what's-his-face, who lost his job on the evening late broadcast, Stephen Colbert. I mean, like, he was consumed with TDS, and that was another one of her besties. So poor Stephen Colbert, he's already out. They got rid of him before the Skydance merger even went through with Paramount. He's bye-bye, but this is, again, Oprah's best friend who's going to be out. Well, they caught up with her, believe it or not. Somebody just happened to be waiting outside the doors at that rather decrepit building there over near, is it 10th or 11th Avenue? In New York City. And as she was leaving today, she just happened to know the reporter. She even shouts out her name, hello, and then gives her this statement, which I'm just going to say, call me a skeptic. I'm wondering if it was planned. I'm wondering if she saw the article in Variety and then called her friends over at TMZ and said, hey, we're going to fight back. I don't know. But watch.
Miss King, nice
Good
to
morning,
see
Tiffany.
you. How are you? So
Good to
it
see
was
you.
very, very shocking to see those reports yesterday. We're all wondering if you might be going in another direction. Do you have an answer as of yet?
No, all I can say is this. From what I'm being told inside this building, take a shot, 524 West 52nd Street. All I've been told by everybody in this building is that they want me here. They like the job I'm doing. I like the job I'm doing. I'll say this. I like the job and the people that I work with. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you about it. But what I'm hearing in the building is not what I'm reading in the press. And what I'm not going to do is negotiate in the media. Not doing that.
All right. Do you have an idea like what things might look like in May if the show's going in another direction?
I have no idea.
No idea.
All I know is I am here. I am here and glad to be here.
I'm happy to see that, Miss
Bye,
King.
Tiffany.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
So that was kind of interesting how she said, and thanks to TMZ for that she is not going to fight this in the press. Okay, Gayle, you're not going to fight it in the press, but you clearly said, okay, well, I'll talk to TMZ. She said, I don't know what any of this is about. According to, well, not TMZ, according to Variety, who originally posted this piece, according to Variety, the idea is that her contract being up, they're going to look for some other place to put her, possibly with her coming up with her own production stuff. Maybe they'll help her with a podcast and that she will have sort of her own unit. Hey, all right, I got news for her. Like, if they're going to be willing to do that, Gayle, I'd take that gig, okay? You wouldn't have to get up at 4 a.m. or what god-awful time you have to get up to do that horrible show. And you hopefully, if you're smart enough, and I'm not sure, but, you know, Oprah's your bestie. Hopefully, if you're smart enough, you're going to own your show. So let CBS help you and pay you for production, but make sure you keep ownership of it. And let's face it. What is the new world telling us? The new world is telling us the independent creator is everything. So the minute you have a big brand attached to your name, like a CBS News or an NBC News or an ABC News or whatever, New York Times, forget about it. Forget about it, right? Because no one actually wants to watch all of those networks. They don't even trust them. They trust the individuals. So Gayle, you might be more trusted, I'm just saying, if you're out on your own without the CBS next to you. Now, CBS is going to invest in you and they're going to, they're going to collect a portion of the revenue. Then, maybe you still are going to have to do something to get away from that. My advice, do it on your own. If you're good enough, you'll actually survive. If you're not, forget about it. Look at us right here. We're over 1 million. Who would have thought? This is no marketing, guys. I don't even have a website yet. I'm working on it this weekend. Trust me. We have exploded here thanks to you. Thanks to all of you. And I see Leslie and Don and everybody in the chat today. And I just want to say thank you to all of you. But this is because the medium has changed. This is a new reality for everyone. And we're all sort of getting used to it in real time. I'm amazed by all the things that I can do. And it's because of the advances in technology. And so with these advances in technology, you have the old legacy networks dying out. And you know what? It's for the best because we have that First Amendment, right? And we ought to be able to use it. And all of a sudden you have these sort of citizen independent journalists that are out there showing you everything in the world, and people are waking up. And part of what I want to talk about today, because there was this great moment on C-SPAN this morning where some caller called in and said, hey, I'm done with the Democrat Party. I've been a Democrat my whole life. My parents have been Democrats their whole lives. We are done with the Democrat Party. Part of what has happened is the curtain has been raised and people are having this awakening, dare I use one of their terms, and they're saying, look, I've been lied to my entire life, and I don't trust these people that are reading teleprompters with scripts that have been effectively massaged and manipulated and written by state government run by the left. And so, it means the likes of, Oprah Winfrey's best friend is going to be on the outs, along with Stephen Colbert, who's already been fired. But here's the deal. If they're good enough, cream always rises to the top. Now, am I right or am I right? I'm telling you, the Democrats are in a very, very bad place. One of whom happens to be that Gavin Newsom out in California. You see, he just can't get anything right. He's throwing fit after fit after fit after fit. I would just say, you know what, Gavin? Focus less on your TDS problem and focus a whole lot more on actually trying to run your country, state, dare I say, efficiently. Like, oh, that was a scary slip, because you see, he wants to run for president. He wants to run the country. And you know how bad we'd all be off? I mean, you'd want to talk about a bad position to be in. You know, I'm good friends with his ex-wife, Kimberly. I actually said this to her recently. I'm like, Kimberly, you know what? If he were to ever get in, it would be really, really, really bad for a lot of people. A lot of people, because one, taxes, okay? You had me at taxes, right? Highest tax rate in the country. California is a total disaster. Two, total inefficiency. I mean, the guy can't make his way out of a paper bag. Look what happened with all the fires. He doesn't do any clearing of the woods. No, he just blames climate change, right? Always blames somebody else. He's the guy who wants to use your hard-earned taxpayer dollars to pay for healthcare for every illegal in his state. It's nuts. And now, because he realizes that, you know, people are just not there in sync with him, he's decided to go full TDS, and he's once again harping on this thing that he just wants. Donald Trump came out the other day and said, look, I'm not allowed to run for governor. I'm not allowed to run for president. I'm not allowed to run for president again. And so Gavin Newsom, governor of California, apparently heard something different. Apparently keeps going back to something that Steve Bannon told The Economist a while back. And, you know, Steve might have been trying to stir the pot. He thinks there's a way that this could happen. I don't think so. I think the president knows that it can't happen anyway. That's not going to stop Gavin from going down his TDS tunnel. Watch, ladies and gentlemen.
Fourth or fifth term, I'm deeply concerned about it. And guys like Bannon, they're not screwing around. They're not screwing around.
So you think Bannon's not just messing with J.D. Vance's head?
I think
because part of it, I think, is
no, but
he
believes it. He believes it.
Yeah.
It's not just J.D. Vance, which is also part of it. But no, these guys have sort of a maniacal sense of purpose and desire for power. This is a revolution. Ian Brenner said in his blog the other day, Ian's not prone to hyperbole. It's a revolution that's going on in this country. And I think you have to...
Okay. Ian is a little bit, I'm sorry. But it's a revolution, like, good. We needed a revolution. For goodness sakes, look at what your people were doing. We had the pregnant man emoji. I think that still is on Apple. We had naturally born boys running against naturally born girls, winning and collecting medals, right? In the swimming pool lanes. All because of you. Oh, and by the way, the number one issue, facing the world, facing Americans. It was supposed to be climate change. Apparently you never bothered to check the Gallup polls. I just checked the last one. Guess what? Gallup poll shows only 2% of American voters actually think that that is the number one issue facing America today. So take that, Kamala. Take that, Gavin Newsom, with your very horrible vocal fry. You know me and voices. Here we go. Rest of the soundbite.
Party needs to focus first and foremost on recognizing that. And then we'll reconcile being more culturally normal, more reform-oriented, talk about service and patriotism. And we'll continue to build on the legacy, I would argue, of our former president, who I think was one of the most successful presidents in the last century, and that is Joe Biden. And I will defend that till my grave. In terms of the CHIPS and Science Act, the infrastructure bill, the work he did on the IRA, the fact that he had a worker-centered industrial policy, and the fact that those are the right policies for this country.
They're all getting undone, right? I mean, everything.
A lot of them, but not, well, many aspects are being celebrated by the Trump administration as his.
So he actually thinks that Biden was the best president ever, and he's going to celebrate that presidency, the presidency that took us to double-digit inflation. At least on producer prices, what were 9.6% increase in inflation? For consumer prices, I'm looking at gas prices now, and the national average, according to GasBuddy.com, is less than $3. That's the national average. I know it's more if you live in California. Believe me, Gavin made it surely more with all his taxes Anyway, you know, he's so preoccupied with this idea that Donald Trump is going to run again. This is what he keeps selling over and over and over again. Watch. He's got no sense of humor.
You think for a second you want... I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Just a little. Just a little, okay. So he's so worried about 2028. That's a big part of it. The other problem with this guy, let's face it, is that he has no accountability whatsoever. Like nothing is ever his fault. And this came out in this little ABC News interview that was supposed to be a puff piece.
Because the
retribution
is real.
What are you talking about?
Well, you've got the, you know, you need federal assistance. I mean, the fires. I mean, you're going to be rebuilding from
I was
those
sitting
fires.
there on the tarmac. I was sitting there having 30-minute conversations, personal phone calls. I went to visit the White House. Nothing. Not a peep. Not a dollar. Zero.
So he's already done
nothing.
It. So you're saying there's nothing more.
He took billions and billions of dollars, $4 billion in the high-speed rail. He's gone after us like no other state. And that's when our state of mind was collaborative. Spare me, come on.
Well, people are afraid of his retribution.
Exactly, but I'm afraid we're going to lose our country. And where the hell is everybody? Why aren't we standing up to principle? Why aren't we standing up? The founding fathers didn't live and die to see us as cowards. The richest, the most powerful people in this country selling their soul and selling out this country. I mean, that's how I feel. So yeah, forgive me. I'm sorry if people's feelings are hurt about this. I'm disgusted what's happened in this country. I'm disgusted by the supine Congress. I'm disgusted by how the private sector is conducting themselves. I'm disgusted by universities selling their soul and law firms. I'm disgusted that people are not more outraged. Forgive me.
I mean,
I'm not going to forgive you. Okay, I'm not going to forgive you because you know what? I lived through the 4 years of the Biden administration. I lived through and reported from the front lines with all of you guys. Maybe watching it, me at one of my other networks, one of my networks that I worked at Fox Business, as we dealt with lie after lie after lie that came out of that administration. And then it's now been reported that, well, not only was everything a lie, whether you're talking about the dirty dossier, Russia, whether you are talking about the virus being created it just via a wet market. Oh no, turns out it was from that lab that we weren't allowed to talk about. Whether it was the Hunter Biden laptop. Oh, that was a beauty, right? 51 ex-spooks coming out and saying, hey, this is nothing but misinformation. I mean, come on. Like, you guys did this to yourselves. The American people can only be lied to so many times. Oh, and then the climate change. I mean, even Bill Gates came out the other day and said, yeah, not the top priority anymore because, you know, things like hunger matter more. And there was that Gallup poll showing only 2% consider that to be the top issue facing the world today. I mean, for goodness sakes, you just tried to spoon feed us a whole bunch of lies. But fortunately, there's things like this, right? The Trish Regan show. You get to get independent information with independent content from independent creators that maybe have a different spin on it, a different point of view. And so people have woken up to all of it. And rightly so. So Gavin, I'm sorry, you can keep singing that song and dance. And I know you get your friends like over at The View, also at ABC News. They're singing it all day long for you as well. I just heard Whoopi Goldberg. I won't torture you guys with playing it again, but we saw this on the show here together when I played you the soundbite of her saying, well, he's putting the National Guard into California and into Illinois and into all these places so that he can steal the next election. And I'm like, I'm sorry, we've been there, done that, right? We had to sit through Jimmy Carter telling us that he didn't believe that this was the legitimate president, the Donald Trump presidency, because it had been bought and paid for by the Russians. I mean, for goodness sakes, enough is enough. I've had it, you've had it, we've all had it. And Jasmine Crockett's coming back for more. I mean, this woman is completely delirious. This woman is, you know, when you have an inflated sense of self, what do they call that? It's a form of narcissism. I think her staff would tell you that. She's pretty narcissistic because she apparently never leaves her fancy apartment. And when she does, she demands that she have a staffer drive her in a rented SUV. This was all per the New York Post that came out recently, and it was this big expose on poor Jasmine. Jasmine's like coming apart at the seams, you see, because her only reason for existence is to have this position as the congresswoman from Texas. She plays a part, she walks the walk and talks the talk, so to speak, trying to sound as as authentic and ethnic in her own way as she can. But it turns out she grew up in a different state in Missouri and went to a private school and grew up in a 2-parent household and the whole thing. But occasionally the way she talks, you wouldn't know it. Jasmine Crockett is now going to be out of a job because of the redistricting. Oh, something else that makes Gavin Newsom terribly, terribly upset there in the state of California. So she has a new idea. And she's breaking it to the world here on some podcast or on her own show. I don't know what she's doing here. She's apparently really, really into broadcasting and coming up with little stunts to try and get herself some attention. I kind of hate to give it to her, but it is kind of funny because the woman is delirious. The woman is not very bright. Oh gosh, I sound like Trump, right? Doesn't he say like she's low IQ? Low IQ, low. How low can you go, Jasmine?
Ted Cruz would be ideal. He would be ideal to run against. I mean, he would be ideal. I would love to challenge Ted Cruz. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with y'all. I'm gonna just keep it real. This is the first time I've ever said that publicly, right? So y'all getting here. But let me tell you something. I am so concerned for our country right now with everything that we're experiencing. I just went through a litany of things before.
I would love to run against Ted Cruz. You hear that? Well, I got news for you. You're not going to win that one, Jasmine. You might love to run against Ted Cruz, but Jasmine Crockett is not going to win that one at all. Like, that's just never going to happen. I mean, he's far too formidable a candidate with way too much of the MAGA base behind him. And I don't really know who you have behind you, especially now that you've been redistricted, right? And I'm watching your party in real time, and you think that this is the future? You really, the woman has a terrible potty mouth if you listen to her, and we've played some of her clips on my short feed before. I think we're going to play that one actually. And oftentimes I'm like, oh, whoa. Like, she's one that I had to screen that before I played it. I knew what it was saying, but I wanted to make sure that there were no F-bombs or other kinds of little bombs in there because the woman's mouth is so bad. Okay, so when we have to play a short from Jasmine Crockett, we have to go over it multiple times to make sure that we clean it up because she does not have the best way of talking, shall we say, despite all the private schools that she went to. No, because apparently she's just trying to take on this caricature. Remember the bleach bit, whatever, that she when she went after MTG? She went after Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Marjorie had a good comeback, I think, on the eyelashes. Anyway, the whole thing went off the rails, and it's like, do we really need these kind of people in Congress? Do we need a Jasmine Crockett with her nasty way of speaking? I just don't think so. Do we need a La Monica MacGyver? No. With her right hook? Oh, no. Don't get me started. But I am telling you this. Between the Jasmines of the world, the AOCs of the world, the Mgmts of the world, between the guy out in Minneapolis, did you see him? That'll be on my shorts feed too. He's running for mayor of Minneapolis, and he's got a Somali flag that he's out there waving, not an American flag. And then he speaks a little bit in English and then immediately into Somalian. I mean, I'm sorry. He said he's going to protect all Somalians. I'm like, wait, where are you? Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA. But you wouldn't know it. So this is who they're putting forward, which tells you they got nothing. Meanwhile, you got a shutdown going on that just won't stop. It's like the gift that keeps on giving for the Republican Party. The Democrats, they are up a creek without a paddle, and guess what? They're losing people left and right, as this C-SPAN show found out today. So they have callers that call in, kind of like, when I'm looking at your comments. We'll find a way to do that at some point. Because Leslie, I'd like to talk to you. We're going to get you like on camera here. And Don, same thing. Anyway, this guy calls in, and the poor anchor on C-SPAN was like, let's go to our Democrat hotline. Maybe they have a Democrat and a Republican hotline. He didn't expect this. Watch.
We go to Oklahoma, where Lawrence is on our line for Democrats. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You know, I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm 78, and my folks were too. But this party has changed so damn much. It makes me sick.
Whoa!
You know, I'm going to move out of it. It's terrible. You know, just Schumer. You know, he needs to be in a home. You know, take Pelosi with him. You know,
Lawrence, when's the last? Who was
Okay,
the last?
wait. Did you hear that? He said he needs to be in a home and take Pelosi with him. I mean, that's pretty good, right? And so the guy's like, okay, all right, let me see. Is he really a Democrat? I got to make sure. I'm C-SPAN. Watch.
When's the last? Who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Pardon me?
Who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Last election. But like I said, I'm changing.
You voted for Kamala Harris?
Yeah, this is ridiculous. You know.
Why did you
go around? You know.
Why did you think Kamala Harris should win that election?
As a Democrat, I just a solid Democrat. Like I told you, my folks were too, and I'm just fed up. I'm moving. You know, I don't know, independent or something's got to happen. I just wanted to make a comment, and thank you.
That's Lawrence in Oklahoma.
Well, Lawrence in Oklahoma, we welcome you to the other side, okay? Look, you've got Democrats really struggling right now, and there are no answers. There's no candidate out there with any kind of answer that seems to resonate. And so the party becomes more and more splintered, and I would just say, hey, you know what? That's a good thing. It's a good thing because they got this shutdown going on. And here's the question. I mean, who are you blaming on the shutdown? I want to go to CNN because even they're kind of stunned at this, but the reality is the Democrats are taking the blame, as they should. By the way, they could have delivered a clean CR. They chose not to because they wanted to throw a temper tantrum, TDS style, bang their feet on the floor and their hands on the floor and cover their ears and say, no, we're not going to do anything. They could have. They chose not to, and they're paying the price. Watch.
It hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye on. All right, change in the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well. So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
And Democrats.
What do you know? I mean, like, why should the Republicans stop? I mean, it's working for them. The Democrats are the ones that are just messed up. But you know what's sad about it all? What's sad about it all is that it's everyday Americans that are really paying the price. I sat down yesterday afternoon with my good friend Kent Strang from AFP, and we talked about this. Kent's great. He's got his head in all of this. And I'm like, Kent, like, where does this go? What happens from here on out? I want you to listen. Joining me right now, my friend Kent Strang, managing director over at Americans for Prosperity. Oh my gosh, Kent, we're like in, I guess it's day 30 or so, 29, 30 of this shutdown. And I don't know, feels like no end in sight. Is that fair to say?
It feels like there's no end in sight right now. Certainly Schumer shut down the government for the last 30 days. He wants to go on a spending spree of $1.5 trillion to get his Democratic priorities. And he's holding the American people hostage and using them as leverage to get what he wants, which is over $1 trillion in bad government spending that voters have rejected.
I mean, it's getting serious now because, you think about it. I know that SNAP benefits are running out over the weekend. I know that our troops aren't getting paid. I know that air traffic controllers aren't getting paid. And I guess what really kind of ticks me off about it all is that it's all over this $1.5 trillion. Like they could have delivered a clean CR, right? You open the government back up, you have a clean CR, and then you can kind of negotiate some of the other stuff. But it's almost like they're throwing a hissy fit. It's like one of those TDS-inspired hissy fits.
That's right. It's remarkable that we have been shut down for 30 days with a clean CR on the table. And what that means is that it's a continuing resolution and it allows the government to stay open and they're not adding a lot to it. And so very few times does this happen. And Democrats have voted 13 times to keep the government closed. And what we're saying is that Biden wants to return back to that Bidenomics era. Schumer wants to return back to that Bidenomics era where they spent $5.5 trillion. They led to 40-year high inflation. It cost the average American $11,400 more just to maintain their lifestyle. So then Republicans come along and say, we don't want to do that anymore. We cut $1 trillion from the One Big Beautiful Bill of wasteful spending. And now Schumer wants to come back and live in those old days that voters have rejected, spend another $1.5 trillion in a spending spree. And he's holding all of these people that you just talked about as leverage. And all of the Dems keep using the same language of they need leverage. Well, what that means is 1.3 million servicemen and women are not getting paid and they're going to work. Border Patrol agents are going to work and they're not getting paid.
I'm sure they're happy with that.
Yeah. And, it's such an important part of keeping America safe, and air traffic controllers, and the list goes on, but they feel like this is the only way they can meet their demands, which is what this really is.
Well, I don't see, the troops and Border Patrol as being sort of big causes, dare I say, for the Democrat Party. But I mean, they should be, but it is what it is. I do see things like SNAP as being something that leaves them more vulnerable, because if you're a Democrat and you realize, okay, my government, I get the blame game and everybody wants to point the finger at somebody else, but, this seems to be kind of solvable in the near term, but for some people that want to keep spending. I think I'm not the only one, by the way. I was looking at the Quinnipiac poll, and if you dig deep into those numbers, and I know you've looked at this, what you actually see is that the Republican Party is not really getting hurt by it at all. Because I think the Americans are like, okay, yeah, we know we got a big bloated government that needs to be slimmed down. And it's not just Republicans or the base that's okay with this. It's actually, fascinatingly, independents as well.
Yeah, I think it's really fascinating, but I think it all comes down to the Republicans have offered a very reasonable solution. We're going to continue spending at the government's current clip. And Democrats are saying, well, we reject that premise because we want to force you into spending another $1.5 trillion. And so I think it's very simple. If you could open the government today, you could pass a clean continuing resolution. Democratic senators have voted 13 times to oppose this, and they could negotiate those healthcare subsidies because they have until the end of the year to do that. But instead, it all comes back to leverage, and they want to leverage it into an opportunity. And I don't know when they're going to come off this, but I'm with you that I think the American people are going to sour on this really quickly because they see that this is brinksmanship. It's a game. When they could pass a clean CR today, this could be over and they can negotiate the subsidies at another time.
It's amazing. And forgive me if I said billion earlier. Earlier on, billion, trillion, my gosh, these numbers just get so insane and so immense. But 1.5 trillion is a heck of a lot of money. We did learn that somewhere in the vicinity of $600 billion of taxpayer money, federal taxpayer money, wound up in the state of California, actually going to hospitals for the care of illegal migrants. And so it's getting down to that issue of, okay, if we're going to just bring everybody in, as we did under the Biden administration, and we don't even know who's here or how we're accounting for them, it's eventually going to cost the American taxpayer. And it's money that we simply don't have. And I think in this case, you get Republicans that are just not willing to turn it over to the states for the care of for example, illegals, because, and you know, it's complicated, right? It's complicated because I think we're a pretty altruistic, humane society and we want to do the right thing. But, you know, you can't put incentives in place that keep sending people here because they're going to get free stuff, including healthcare.
That's right. And again, we put a lot of our values on elections. And what did we see? We didn't want to continue to go down that path of having a complete open border. We wanted American borders to be secure. We want our people to be safe. We voted in favor of eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. And it sounds to me like that's the will of the American people. That's where Republicans are today. Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats can't seem to live with that reality. And now they want to use military men and women as leverage, use this opportunity as leverage, use SNAP as leverage when they can open the government right now.
So how do we get this thing fixed? I mean, this is going to, I suspect, I want to hear your view, but like I suspect it's going to be one of the longest shutdowns in history because I know Donald Trump and where he is at and the Republican Party is at. I don't think they're going to budge. And so this is like one really bad game of chicken. And the Republicans have the upper hand only because of the data we've been citing, right? Where they keep doing better in the polls despite the shutdown. So they really have no incentive to say, okay, let's fix it. So now it's on the Democrats. And if they're not willing to do it, okay, we just sit here in this stalemate for how long? I mean, hey, we in some ways you're like, okay, the less government, the better. But I do feel bad for the people that need and rely on those paychecks. And it's, you know, they're the casualties in all this. That's what's so tragic.
Well, I live in an Air Force community. I feel for the men and women who serve our country in the Air Force who are not going to work and not getting paid. And so I wish I had a crystal ball on how and when this gets resolved, but there are some important inflection points that are coming up. And we've talked about it already that SNAP ends on Saturday. That will certainly be an inflection point. We're going to find where different government employees are going to miss paychecks. They're not all on the same pay schedule. More employees will miss paychecks. Then we're going to have an election on November 4th where we'll see what happens post-election, if that changes anything. And then as we get into Thanksgiving and Christmas, if for some reason it were to go that long, you're going to have air traffic controllers who have been working for well over a month without getting paid. At what point does that harm our ability to travel for the holidays and disrupt air travel and families moving to go celebrate, you know, as we get into Thanksgiving and Christmas? And so when, I don't know, but there are inflection points coming up that are going to lead to more pain for the American people that Congress is going to have to work through.
No, they're gonna have to do it, and you know, people are gonna start to get impatient, especially as we get into the travel season. I just put up on the screen, Make Government Work, because that's the website you guys are encouraging people to go to, just as sort of a call to action here. And I would say anybody listening and watching right now, hey, you know what? You want to put a little pressure on your congressperson? You should. You know, I don't care what party you're in. This is a time when, you know, we really need them to do the right thing. And in this case, I do blame Schumer. I do blame the Democrats. And so if you want to kind of, you know, push them a bit, go over to makegovernmentwork.com. What are you guys doing with that to try and sort of gin up some pressure, the pressure cooker campaign?
We absolutely should hold Democratic lawmakers accountable for these votes 13 times to shut the government down. But in addition to that, there are solutions, and we can end the brinksmanship of these government shutdowns by passing what's called the Prevent Government Shutdowns Act. And what that does is that keeps Congress in session and saying, hey, you're going to pass a continuing resolution. You're going to keep the government open, and you have to stay and negotiate. Senator Langford was on TV this morning and on the floor talking about this particular bill. It had 57 votes the last time he brought it up, and they can end this if they want to end this. And then there are a number of other reforms that we just need government to work for.
I like that. Hey, question, don't they still get paid?
They do. I don't know if you heard Bernie Sanders the other day on The View where they cornered Bernie on that. And he said, well, we can't not take a paycheck because we have a lot of people who are relying on those paychecks and have families. It's like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Bernie.
Okay,
like,
sorry. I gotta go find that one. I'm gonna find that one today. That is so classic. I mean, it's like, well, I'm not going to wait at the New Jersey airport in a commercial plane area. I'm not going to be there at Newark, New Jersey. No, I got to fly private. Oh, my paycheck matters, but yours doesn't? Come on. Oh, that like symbolizes everything for me right there, Kent.
It really does.
Anyway, all right, I'm going to find that. That's my number one priority. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I want to encourage everybody, makegovernmentwork.com. Kent Strang, always good to have you in the house. I appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's great. It's great to see. It's great to see Kent, and he's always got a good perspective on this. So yeah, go check out makegovernmentwork.com. So sure enough, I did find the soundbite, and he's right. It was on The View. So let me see if I can play that for you guys, because I think it sort of symbolizes everything that's wrong with Democrats right now. It's all for themselves, right? All for themselves. Bernie Sanders admitting it. I mean, I'm like, really? You know, Bernie, I'm so blown away by, like, do they not understand? Is there no self-awareness? Is there no appreciation for how this might sound? Let's play it. Okay, here he is on The View the other day being asked about why it is that members of Congress are still making money. Watch.
They were waiting because right now it's hard to imagine it's incentivized. It's easier for the politicians in D.C. to go away from each other and say, we will win this way, while people are losing their paychecks. If Congress just said, we're not going to take our paychecks till we figure this out, that would be a noble step in the right direction. I think
that's not everybody can afford to do. You got some young people there with kids there.
Either can the people that aren't getting paid, though.
I think
and
that's a fair point. I think that's a fair point.
Okay, but wait. He said not everyone can afford to do that. It's like, what about the people that aren't getting paid? I mean, what about our servicemen and women that have families as well? I mean, this is a wild thing to say. Let's watch it again.
Till we figure this out, that would be a noble step in the right direction. I think
that's not everybody can afford to do. You got some young
not everybody can afford to.
People there with kids there.
Either can
you get some young people there with kids. So good for, like, the View host for actually going back, and neither can these people that are not making money. Anyway, that's just, like, encapsulates, does it not? This, rules for thee, but not for me. I mean, I'm a member of Congress. I don't need to fly commercial. I mean, I'm a card-carrying socialist who wants to fly my own private jet everywhere for millions of dollars, but you can't. No, you can't, because you know what? You can't pollute the environment, number one. And two, I'm going to make sure I take all of your money so that it goes towards my things that I want, that I divvy up to my friends. You understand how corrupt these people are? It's mind-boggling. So when you get the likes of Gavin Newsom and idiots like him out there saying, oh, gee, our country's at risk, what do you think our country was facing under the likes of all you people? I mean, we were facing a lot, and I want to get back into the Arctic frost discovery, because a guy who's been there 22 years, has just been fired at the FBI, and according to the Trump team, with good reason. But before I do, a quick shout out for, again, Americans for Prosperity, because, we were just talking with Kent Strang over there, and I've told you before how much Americans for Prosperity did, have I not? Did to, in other words, help deal with the Trump tax bill getting passed. That was just a wonderful thing for the economy. We were talking about that for months. Well, I've partnered with them on something else, because they got another great thing that's in the works. AFP is not resting on its laurels. They are continuing to work hard in terms of finding a good resolution for all of us for this shutdown, but also pulling out the stops for Congress to pass a permitting reform bill with bipartisan support that would speed up all sorts of energy and mining projects. You know how important this is? I mean, energy is critical, right? Well, we've actually seen gas prices come down. Why? Oh, because we started drilling again. And hey, you know what? Mining actually really matters, because all that lithium is needed to power electricity. So our grids, right, are all those, if you want electric cars, Dems, you're going to need the lithium. Lithium is an energy of the future. And so we've got to be thinking about these things, and we need to actually get that bipartisan support to make sure that we have the economy of the future, if you would, when it comes to energy. So this is what they're looking at. I want you to head over here. There's a site that they have. You can learn more information. I think it's worth just informing yourself. It is called Prosperity, which is a nice thing to say. Oh goodness. Can I speak and type at the same time? Maybe not. Prosperity. This is talent, people. This is talent. I bet you GAYLE King couldn't do this. Prosperity is possible.com. So this is the site that they have, and go check it out, because this is an important thing to be looking at right now as we face these energy concerns. We need to unlock our natural resources. We need to drill, baby, drill, right? We need to build for America's future. That includes mining as well. And I'm telling you, when it comes to fighting for our economic freedom, these guys get it. They're doing it. You just saw Kent on the show. Look what he's been able to accomplish, he and his team there, in terms of tax policy, and now they're going after all of this mining and drilling that is so critical for our future these days. You need to be relentless, let's face it, and they are. So go check them out, prosperityisimpossible.com. But I want to get to this big story, because this Arctic frost situation, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every day. Here's the newest headline for you, and the left is flipping out because they're firing people, as they should, right? We thought they got rid of them all the other day. It turns out there was one lingering there. 22-year veteran of the FBI, recently named in documents that were related to this Arctic frost investigation. It's like dystopian, even the word, right? Arctic frost. Anyway, this guy, he had been there for 22 years in the FBI. He's connected, apparently, to this investigation into J6, and now he is being pushed out. And so the left is going nuts. You can't push him out. You can't push him out. And they're like, oh, yeah? So Director Kash Patel is forcing out the special agent, according to MSNBC, in charge, whose name appeared in documents recently released by the Senate Republicans, detailing the efforts into the investigation into Donald Trump's effort, as they write, to overturn the 2020 election. So, you know, like, I don't want to like pick at words, but let me just say for a moment, all Donald Trump was trying to do was actually get to the bottom of what he thought might be a close election, right? So like if Georgia was close, like why was he going to give up on that? Don't forget Hillary Clinton was out there saying on a podcast that was anchored by one of her PR friends that used to work for her. She was saying her advice to Joe Biden in August of 2020 was, whatever you do, if it's close, don't give up, right? They learned their lesson back with hanging chads in Florida, and Al Gore and Bush took that one. So they were like, don't give up, don't give up. Okay, so Donald Trump was like, I'm not giving up. And he didn't have a right to do that? No, you didn't have a right to do that, because if you're playing for the other side, you don't have a right to do anything, let's face it. The agent, his name was Aaron Tapp, and he's been named in the Post. He was named to the Post in San Antonio last year, 22-year FBI veteran who specialized in fraud and financial and cyber crimes. According to his LinkedIn profile, it was not immediately clear whether he would be allowed to retire from the Bureau. So they're like, you're out. And the question is, does he get his retirement, or is he just out? He's somehow connected to this investigation into all of these senators. And it's bizarre. I mean, it's bizarre that this happened in a country like ours. I mean, it's very, very sort of banana republic-esque. I've told you guys before, and I'm going to say it again, I don't think we've ever seen anything like it, certainly not in my lifetime. This is like Watergate on steroids. If you look at this graphic I'm showing you on the air, you've got Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, Jack Smith, and Christopher Wray at the top. I would say you got to put Biden in there somewhere too, okay? This is like Biden's entire team. So I want to know exactly who was pulling the strings, who was pulling the strings for Biden, for goodness sakes. I mean, we know he didn't have many strings to pull, especially towards the end. And so they were going after Donald Trump. They tapped, forgive me, I can't say wiretapped. I'm going to get in trouble. They told, T-O-L-L-E-D, okay? You're learning a new word here today. They told the phones. That meant that they were listening, not technically listening. They were looking at the metadata. So they'd say, okay, how long was Marsha Blackburn talking to Trish Regan, okay, or whoever else? They got 30 million phone records. How long was she talking to Trish? And where was she talking to Trish from? And where was Trish when Marsha was talking to her? And so they started to try and piece together and basically map out the entire MAGA movement. And if you were associated with this in any way, oh gosh darn it, you were in all kinds of trouble. And we saw this over and over again. I mean, just looking at some of the bank records, for example, right? I mean, the bank records that kept coming up. So this agent allegedly was involved in some of this. And it's now become such an ordeal, such a big deal, that you have all of these senators that were targeted saying enough is enough. I mean, I love this one. Some of you guys have seen this already, but you had Grassley out there. Was it Ted Cruz? It was Ted Cruz, one of them. Okay, we're gonna play both of these sound bites. So humor me for a moment, because I can't believe what these phone companies did. Ted Cruz was getting his phone logged by a phone company. Here's Grassley explaining it.
I've recently been informed by Verizon that at least 11 members with Verizon accounts were affected. That includes a hardline for Senator Cruz's office and a staffer's cell phone for former Senator Loeffler. AT&T informed me they challenged the legal basis for Jack Smith's efforts, and Smith backed down.
Well, good for AT&T. Really good for AT&T. I mean, like, I get, they go and they get a subpoena somehow, but it is kind of at some point up to the phone company to look at the subpoena and try and understand whether it's really worth it, because you would have to assume that they're going to be in trouble if they were allowing flimsy subpoenas to then be able to go after major senators. I mean, that's messed up. As Senator Kennedy so rightly, and dare I say, articulately, he's got some expressions. This one's a doozy.
But the phone company and the general counsel for the phone company, or companies, if there were more than one involved, could say, this is serious as an aneurysm. This is serious as 4 heart attacks and a stroke. This is a sitting United States senator. So general counsel would likely advise the CEO, you need to file a motion to quash.
Senator, typically phone companies follow a subpoena from a United States attorney.
I know they do, but they don't have to.
They could challenge it, Senator.
Yeah. Or maybe they should have gone to Amazon and buy some testicles online. Instead of just saying, sure, I'll just show you the phone records of a sitting United States senator on the basis of an administrative subpoena.
You see, I told you. He has a way with words. Anyway, one of you guys writing, and I get it, that you're like actually thinking about switching your cell phone provider there, because the idea that Verizon just folded and apparently didn't go to Amazon and purchase the things that Kennedy wanted them to do, like AT&T did, is very interesting. Very, very interesting. So here, you're looking at what I just put up on the screen, which is the rules surrounding what telecom companies can and cannot do. I mean, they can't actually provide these phone records unless they have a subpoena. Now, as Kennedy said, they can challenge that subpoena. And if you have a good general counsel, they're going to look at that and say, well, let me be careful here, because we can't just like fold over for everyone. Like, what is the real reason for this? And it sounds like in the case of AT&T, they did challenge Jack Smith and he ran away. So Verizon didn't bother. And that's actually an interesting distinction. I mean, don't forget, you have all these rules surrounding this, the Wiretap Act, you've got the Computer Fraud Act and Abuse Act, you've got State Privacy Eavesdropping Acts. I mean, all of these senators actually could go after the phone companies in addition to Jack Smith and company, because anybody that got tracked through this tolling system of gathering the metadata is basically now, I mean, maybe they can come up with some kind of class action lawsuit. You get 30 million phone records. I'm sitting there going, I mean, for sure. My number's in there somewhere. For sure, because I talked to enough people behind the scenes. My number's in there somewhere. So anybody who was a victim of this should be able to come forward and say, hey, not okay, right? Here's Jack Smith. That's the picture of him, in case you forget. He wasn't that public. He didn't get out there like Letitia James saying, 2 male, 2 pals, 2 stale, right? So we didn't see him on a regular basis, but this is him. And now we learned, of course, that Bongino and Cash just a couple of weeks ago, they fired everyone, but not everyone. So they've now discovered there's this one guy, 22-year veteran of the FBI. We don't know too much about him, but he apparently had a heavy hand in all of this. And as such, he's now out. The other one that had a heavy hand in it was this guy, Timothy Tebow. I got a picture of him on the screen. And he actually was out of there by the time they were really revving up. But he's the one who initiated the investigation. And according to the allegations against him by Grassley and Company, he basically decided to initiate this investigation, and then he okayed the investigation, which actually you can't do. It's like against FBI code. because you need like a higher up. You can't like have the same person initiate and then the next person, like the same exact person, say A-OK on it. So this is a problem. And it came up recently with Lindsey Graham. He was another one affected by this. And he was asked, hey, you know, aren't you concerned about Trump? And he's like, hang on, people. You know what I'm concerned about? Let's go to Lindsey.
Do you think that crosses a line between the Justice Department being independent from the executive branch?
I think our Justice Department in the hands of Biden crossed every line there is to cross. I think within 3 days of announcing he was going to run for president in 2024, he did that in 2022.
But what about Trump?
He had
But Senator,
91
what about
indictments.
Trump? What about?
Yeah. Now, I think the grand jury is going to take care of this, but you didn't care any about this. You didn't care that Letitia James made up charges that no one's ever faced.
But Senator Biden never publicly called for Trump to be indicted.
He had 90. Biden regretted that they didn't do it before the election. Jack Smith surveilled my phone records and 8 other senators. Jack Smith introduced his brief against Trump October the 24th before the 2024 election, violating every protocol just to politicize the election. So this may bother you that people are being held accountable. It doesn't bother me one damn bit.
Thank you, Lindsey. You know, it's amazing this sort of hypocrisy that we're seeing in real time. And the idea that they can somehow say, oh, like, how can you be going after Letitia James for such a small thing as her secondary mortgage? And it's like, wait a second, guys, did you not live through what we all lived through? Where you had now, apparently, I mean, it was way worse than we thought. And that's what we're learning here every single day, which is why we're saying, hey, this thing is like worse than Watergate. It's bad. But, you know, I want to go to some sound. We put this in the shorts feed today of this young woman who has immigrated legally to the United States of America from Canada. And I'm telling you, she gets it because she's calling out the hypocrisy. It's like on the one hand, you guys say this, and then on the other hand, you're doing that. Watch. Canada, the legal way. And she's got some pretty keen observations.
Within a second of somebody thinking differently than you, you will mock them, you will try to cancel them, and you will shut them out. You can't treat people like garbage and then expect them to stand beside you.
Thank you.
That is not how unity works. You say that you're the party of tolerance, but you've also created this culture where if somebody doesn't agree with you, then they're automatically sexist, racist, or uneducated. You say that you're all for inclusion, but you exclude half of the country because they voted differently than you. You preach that you're all about kindness and empathy, but you can also cheer when conservatives lose their jobs or, I don't know, their life. You say that love wins, but you harass and cancel anybody who thinks differently than you. You love to say, my body, my choice for abortions, but then you call people murderers when they don't want to get a vaccine. You say that you need to protect democracy, but you're all for censoring people on social media just because they think differently than you.
In other words, the left is the party of intolerance, and that's got to change if they want to have any hope, any prayer of ever getting elected again. But I don't think they understand how to get elected. I mean, again, let's just talk common sense. Kamala Harris wanted you to think that climate change was the most important issue. But just go to the Gallup poll, for goodness sakes. I mean, you people are totally tone deaf because only 2% of Americans saw that as the most important issue. And the majority of Americans actually don't think that we should be so obsessed with pronouns, okay? Like, most people don't actually think that. And yet they were making all of these things into issues, like issues where there are no issues. Like they're trying to reinvent our language with they. Oh, I read a marriage announcement in the New York Times a couple years ago, and it was 2 women that were getting married, but they both went by they, and it was they, and I was completely confused. I'm like, sorry, you lost me. What do you want to reinvent English? Or how about the Latinx stuff? I mean, what is Latinx? Was that supposed to be a woman? I think so. Latinx. I mean, like, I'm sorry, you're a Latina. You're a proud Latina or a Latino. And by the way, the entire Spanish language is filled with masculine and feminine pronouns. I mean, you just can't get rid of it, guys. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like Romance languages in general, this is what happens. This is what exists. Are you going to completely change all these languages? These people are trying to make problems where there are none because they want to divide and they want to conquer that way. And now they're getting caught. And this is bad, and I'm angry, and you should be angry too. And yet, you get idiots that say, well, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Why are they going after one Letitia James? How dare they go after Letitia Labor Day, dancing away at the parade in, I think this is in one of the boroughs of New York City. Fittingly, dare I say, right next to the porta potties. Anyway. I don't think anybody really cared that Letitia James was there. I really don't. She's claiming that all of these charges against her, they're fake, they're fraudulent. There's no reason that she, Letitia James...
Make some noise, boys.
Make some noise. I'm not hearing a lot of noise. I'm not even seeing much in terms of a waving crowd, etc. But Letitia James, again, another one with a very inflated sense of self, is in a whole lot of trouble because of this mortgage thing. Now, I want to point out that recently it came to our attention that Letitia was somehow, she's indicted, but somehow she's trying to use this excuse that one, Lindsay doesn't have a right, forgive me. You know who I mean, the woman who's running the U.S. Attorney's Office there in Virginia, Lindsay Halligan, does not have the right to be in that position. This is the same exact tactic that Comey took. Comey's like, she doesn't have a right to be in this position because she was not approved by the Senate. She's there on a temporary basis, and because she's there on a temporary basis, they're saying she doesn't have the right to bring forward these charges. I would beg to differ with that because, you've got to have somebody running the U.S. Attorney's Office in the state of Virginia, and it can take time before a Senate confirmation happens. So are you just going to make everybody obsolete while they're there on an interim basis? I don't think you can. So this is their legal theory that they're trying to advance. So Tish James is using this the same as Comey. She's also trying to say that she had the right to rent out her property. And so they're pointing to a particular part of the second mortgage document. Remember, I've shown you guys this before. So she had this Virginia home with the second home rider. And if you look closely at this, I'm going to lean into my computer real close. The second home rider that was written into being on the 17th of August, 2020, basically said a few things, okay? It was saying that this was going to be her second home, but they're trying to say, they're glomming onto this one phrase, and I want to bring it up for you. In addition to the covenants and agreements made in the security instrument, borrower and lender further covenant and agree, the sections 6 and 8 of the security instrument are deleted and replaced by the following. 1, 6, occupancy. Borrower will occupy and use the property as borrower's second home. Okay, so this is like the vacation home. Borrower will maintain exclusive control over the property and the occupancy of the property, including short-term rentals. So they're trying to say that because it says including short-term rentals, that she was not really using it as a rental property. I mean, I would argue, and again, this is for the courts, but I would argue that that kind of covers your Airbnb, or we're renting it out for a week or, for summer vacation or something. It seems that her niece, who had all kinds of issues herself, all the nieces apparently did, at least 2 of them that we know about in their various properties that Letitia owned, the niece was living there on a permanent basis because the electricity was registered in her name. That doesn't happen in a short-term rental. In a short-term rental, you don't actually have an electric bill in your name. In a short-term rental, that's like the Airbnb thing. Okay, we're going away for the summer, so can we rent our house out for a week or 2? That's totally different. But this is what she is basing her legal argument on. And I'm kind of surprised because I've seen a lot of places. Well, I mean, Politico, it goes without saying. Of course, they're going to put that in Politico. That's like the, remember the publication that used to get all the USAID money? Because all kinds of Washington money because somehow you had to have a Politico subscription service. For what was it? It was something like $10K a year. It was crazy. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why would anybody want that? Oh, well, unless you're trying to pay off some friends behind the scene. Allegedly. Anyway, this is the second home rider that they are saying actually absolves her from anything. And I would just say, when you talk about including short-term rentals, that doesn't mean putting your niece there who's then going to have the electricity bills in her name. So I don't think this is, getting Letitia off the hook anytime soon. Nor do I think this idea that somehow, we've got Lindsay there and she's not like the permanent person, so therefore none of the things that she brings forward even matter. That's not going to work. And I just go back to this. I'm going to go back to Byron Donald saying this. Byron's right. You know what? Those in glass houses should not throw stones. And the idea that Letitia James is being caught up in mortgage fraud after what she did, I mean, there's a certain irony to it. You got to admit. Now, let's see if we can get that back one.
I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, defending your rights, and then going home.
Congressman Donald, she said this is nothing to see here, it's just retribution, but that sounds like retribution.
100%. Her entire campaign for Attorney General of New York was to go after one man, and that one man was Donald Trump. She was letting real criminals go. She was letting them go scot-free in New York, but she ran just to go after President Trump, and it's wrong. It's a misuse of power, abuse of power. And now we find out that she was not on the up and up with her personal documents, and now she wants to feign outrage. Well, look, this is very simple. If you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. It's real simple. But unfortunately, Letitia James, she's indicted because it appears that, yes, she was defrauding mortgage companies to get a favorable down payment and a favorable interest rate, and she thought nobody was going to check.
But they did. They did. And they found something. Not only that, they found the 1983 mortgage document, as did we, that shows she listed herself. I'm sorry. This is like I've said before, this is like Ilhan Omar. She's channeling Ilhan Omar type stuff. Robert James and Letitia James, his wife. What's that about? This is the original mortgage document from 1983, May 1983. So I'm just saying there's kind of a pattern. Like, is this like a family thing? Is it a family style? I mean, a family pattern, because she's doing it in 1983, signing up as daddy's wife so that he can get a mortgage. I mean, allegedly. I mean, I'm looking at the document. You're looking at the document. We have to say allegedly because we have to cover our own hides. But for goodness sakes, Letitia James, his wife. and then you factor in, for goodness sakes, the family. I mean, she's got a whole slew of nieces there that she's housing in Virginia in these various homes. And, I know you can't pick your family, whatever, but she's housing them, one of whom seems to be a fugitive. I mean, here's the New York Post headline. Letitia James's criminal kin have been charged 11 times in 5 years, but they keep on getting off easy. Everybody wants to know why they keep getting off easy. Oh, I pays to know people in high places like Tishy Babe. Anyway, Tish James, tale of two homes. She's got these two houses housing multiple grandnieces. There's Nakia Monique Thompson, who moved into James's second home, which she bought in 2020, the one that I just showed you the mortgage document for. And then there in the electricity bills apparently in her name, so that's not a short-term rental, shall we say. And then she has Shamice Thompson, who lives with her daughters, some who have some questionable ways of making a living when they're actually trying to do it in any kind of way that would be accountable for, as in not stealing, because let's just say they got some kleptos there. I mean, one of them, she was prevented from owning a handgun due to a juvenile felony charge of malicious wounding in August 2020. I mean, that's worse than the stealing thing. I mean, that's one of them. Okay, unbelievable. I mean, and then you've got the all this like Walmart stuff. Oh my goodness, we went through this the other day, right? Because one of them $1,600 worth of merchandise she stole from Norfolk Walmart. No wonder all these Walmarts are closing, right? And somehow like she gets off. One of the guys the New York Post talked to, a former prosecutor in Fairfax County, says, I saw nothing that explains why a prosecutor would not move forward with something like this. This consequence for your behavior. You can't just go run around and steal all the time, can you? Or can you? I mean, we played another one on the Shorts feed the other day, and this was crazy to me because there was a woman who I guess is getting her snap cut off, and she decided because she's getting her snap cut off that she had every right to just go and steal stuff in a store. And it kind of reminded me of what the allegations are against some of the Letitia James family members. Let me see if I have this for you because it is worth seeing. It's sort of bizarre. She's like, well, I got this, and she's very proudly showing it off, amazingly. I'm kind of wondering, like, why nobody goes and, like, arrests her if they recognize her on camera. Like, why wouldn't you? I need to show you the version we ran because there were so many bad words in it that I can't play the actual original video of her. But take a look at this, guys. It's worth seeing.
Hi, you guys. I'm out of the store. They wanted $7 for this. Mind you, I don't have food stamps anymore. They cut me off. So I only had $22 left in food stamps. So this is what I stole. Okay? They wanted $9 for this. I said, oh, I don't got $9. Then they wanted $2 for this. They wanted, sorry, it's all f***ed up because it's been in my purse. $7 for this. I'm making some stuffed salmon today. These are needed. I'm not paying $7 for that. Okay, let me show you the most important thing to me. Short ribs. Take off the label so that you don't beep. Get your f***ing meat. How many do you think that I got?
She's like Mary Poppins with that
How many
bag.
short ribs is that?
All for free because you stole it?
Yeah. I mean, it's wild. And then she's bragging about it. That's not one of Letitia's nieces, by the way. But Letitia's nieces, as I said, have been in trouble with the law. One of them actually is a fugitive in that she was supposed to be checking in with the parole officer, but she hasn't been. Instead, she's hanging out in Big Tishy's, Auntie Tishy's house. It's awful. I mean, here's the New York Post saying, in addition to being arrested twice for assaulting cops in North Carolina, Thompson and Thompson Hairston were busted in August 2019 for stealing nearly $2,000 worth of merchandise from Macy's and Dillard's in Chesapeake, Virginia, where they lived before they moved into Auntie Tishy's homes. I mean, heck, maybe they should get a TikTok blog and they can tell us how you make off with $2,000 worth of stuff out of Macy's and Dillard's. What is wrong with people? Seriously, like, what is wrong with that? Well, here's the thing. It's an entitlement, right? I'm curious. I'm looking at your comments here in real time. I think it's a sense of entitlement. It's like, well, I mean, this is what the whole reparations thing is about, right? Like, yeah, I'm entitled to it. I got to get my fair share. Who cares about working for it? I just, I'm going to do this because I must have it because this is the only fair way. And so this woman that you just saw with the ribs and everything, she's part of that mentality. Well, I don't have the money, so I'm just going to go take it. I'm going to go take what's mine. And this is what led to so many of the protests being so disruptive in 2020. Everybody's saying, well, insurance companies can cover it. I mean, I think we just got to get back to basics, accountability. Let's go back and read the Constitution, right? And talk about the importance of independence for each individual and each individual being self-reliant, because this is not okay behavior from Letitia's nieces or anybody else. Really, 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 really. Unbelievable stuff. You know what is also kind of unbelievable? Have you guys tried Balance of Nature? If you haven't, I want you to go check them out today. Balanceofnature.com. Some great reviews there. Balanceofnature.com. You can get 35% off with my code word Trish, Trish. Go check it out. I will say that this stuff is really, really, really good. And I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor on the show and we love them for that. All right. I mean, it helps, right? We love Balance of Nature in all seriousness. I mean, so many people I know take it, including me, but I just love that they have helped to bring this show to life for all of you. So that's just another extra reason to love these guys. But, it's not easy. Look, I'm a mom and I'm cooking for the kids. Tonight we're getting pizza because it's Halloween. But you want to make sure that everybody has a balanced diet, right? And it's not easy. It's not... it's tough. Everybody has different tastes and likes. And I would just say that you as an individual need to be doing the best for you to make sure that you're getting whole food ingredients and that you're working it into your own diet and your own routine. And this is something I try to do. You know, we have a fish and we have a broccoli or a vegetable, and we'll have, you know, some whole grain, something, maybe some brown rice, etc. But, you know, I like knowing that when I take my Balance of Nature, I am at least getting the basics, right? Because when you take Balance of Nature, you're getting all these fruits and veggies supplements into your diet daily, and you have no binders, you have no fillers, you have no flow agents, only the ingredients of 16 whole fruits and 15 whole vegetables, and it's in a capsule, it's freeze-dried, lab-tested, and ready to go where you go. So it's a good product. I really do. I wouldn't encourage you unless I knew it was a good one. You can go to Balance of Nature, and here's the good news. You get a free fiber and spice supplement today, plus the 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using the discount Trish. TRISH. So go check that out again today. It's well worth it. You know, look, we began this show talking about the changing media landscape, and it is a big deal because, you know, as we look at CBS News right now, they're up against a lot of challenges, and none of that is going to change. GAYLE King reportedly out, although it's news to her, as we saw in the TMZ video. I think that the new day really is upon us in that you tune in, hopefully, because of me, and not because of a network. And so this is the distinction. And because you're tuning in from me, you know that, like, I'm no BS, okay? So, like, I'm just going to say it like it is. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. So be it. I'm in and out of trouble, right? All the more reason, make sure you subscribe, share, like. It's important. It's important. But the changing media landscape means you have the opportunity really and truly to get the truth. You don't have to digest whatever GAYLE King and her friends, Oprah, etc., Stephen Colbert want you to digest. You can actually get the news yourself. And you can get it from creators you trust. And this is why, you know, I'm blown away every day, and I'm just so proud of what we've been able to create and excited by all of it. And I really do. I mean it when I say I thank all of you for being part of this, for helping to make us one of the top 100 shows on YouTube. Hey, we're up against the entertainment guys. I think, you know, we're up against 60. We're up against everything. We're up against the legacy media. We're up against entertainment. And we've been able to cut through. And that is, I think, one, a testimony to your willingness to put up with me, right? And all the tech challenges we tend to have from time to time. And my willingness to get here every day and do a show. And know that it's not always going to be perfect, but it's going to be real. And so I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Some of you are members here on this channel. Thank you for that. I hope you have a terrific Halloween tonight. I know I will. My son is going as Superman, and it's really cute. He's going as Clark Kent, like, you know, so he's got the Superman thing underneath, but he's got the glasses and the sort of professional looking outfit. And I managed to find a little press badge for him, so it says Clark Kent. Anyway, so he's going to be Superman, and my girls are teenagers, so mommy may have to approve those costumes before they go out. One of them arrived today, and I held up this thing, and I was like, you know, maybe I'll let them borrow the Catwoman thing. Then they're fully covered. It's cold outside. Hey, anyway, I love that you're here. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go hand out some candy and inspect the costumes, and I'll see you back here probably over the weekend, and of course, live on Monday as always. Thank you again.